Feelings, Dan, when you were told you were getting a 4-year contract?
Obviously overjoyed, a bit taken aback to be honest. I think the discussions started sort of late January, and there was no mention of timescale and what the contract would entail until maybe about sort of 4 to 6 weeks ago. And then obviously George has proposed the idea, which obviously me and David jumped at. I mean, the happiest time in my footballing career was walking through the doors at East Mains 4 years ago, so to be in the position I'm now in and to be given an extra 4 years to potentially finish my career here, it's just, I'm so grateful to Hibs and the powers that be for allowing it.
Do you see yourself playing for 4 years?
I do, of course. I mean, I'm going to back myself. I actually feel as good as I've ever felt, and that's testament to the backroom staff. I'm not going to lie, a couple of years ago I was having a bit bother of it. It's been well documented with my knees and stuff, but my training days were probably no suitable to my needs at the time. So Nathan Ring, who's head of sports science here, had a right good think about it, and we've devised a sort of training regime around that, and it's honestly, touch wood, it's worked a treat since then. My knees are in great condition, I feel good, so I'll play it again. And I've seen older players say this: you'll play, you feel great, and sometimes you can take that with a pinch of salt, but I genuinely do. I feel like I can contribute, and I'm not going to kid anybody on. If I thought that was going out there and letting the team down every single week, then I'd have to look in myself in the mirror and be honest with myself. But at present, I feel like, especially since the gaffers came in, I've struck a wee bit of form, and I'm enjoying football. I'm enjoying working under him. His new philosophies, the identity in which he wants to create, and sees us older professionals at the forefront of that and wanting to push his message as well.
Did you feel at any point when you were having those problems with your knees that you could see your career?
Of course. Aye, I mean, I've spoke to a few close friends about that, talking about the pain I was in week to week. But me being me, I just ground my way through it. Never wanted to really complain, and it got to a point where it was struggling to train every day. So there was a decision made that the taper the training around me. And I mean, again, I can only be thankful to Nathan and to the manager for allowing that, because you might get a manager that comes in and says, well, listen, I'm wanting you to train every day, or you don't play on a Saturday. So that's on me, though. The pressure's on me to perform on the weekend, because I know that'll be labelled at me. If the standards do drop and the form drops, then it could potentially be labelled at me that I'm not training as much. So that adds more pressure, but pressure that I enjoy, and one that I meet head on.
What is your training regime then?
So if we play on a Saturday, you get your day off on a Sunday. To be fair, a lot of the boys on the Monday would just do a recovery spin, and they do a stretch, and they do contrast baths and all of that. So I follow that regime. Then I train on the Tuesday, we get the Wednesday off, train on the Thursday, and then I just wouldn't train the day before a game, but I'd go out and watch. Generally the Fridays, sort of, you're tapering towards how you're wanting to play, patterns of play, set pieces. So I'd be out, I just physically wouldn't be running about. So you could argue it's really only one day training, but the work I do in the gym, if you speak to Paul Green and his staffs, you'd probably wish that I was actually running about, because it can be really difficult sometimes. But again, I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
How did George Selk kind of evolve in role for you over the 4 years then? What was he looking for you away from just
yeah, I mean, you look at the document he gave us, I think it was about that size of roles and responsibilities. But listen, I think first and foremost, what me and Dave, I'm sure he says it, we're definitely still football players. Our main focus is on the footballing side of it, and I think the discussions we had with the gaffer, his one wee apprehension was that, well, maybe we might be sidetracked with our roles and responsibilities. But these are all dependent on training weeks and how we are. Obviously, the longer the contract extends, the likelihood is, if you're looking at it from an outsider's perspective, is that you might not be playing as much as you get. But I still feel that I'm going to be playing. So yeah, it's just the idea that George was trying to create is like almost like a mentor and an ambassador role for the club, which I think in some capacities all the senior pros do anyway. You're an older head in the dressing room. You're somebody for the younger guys to look up to, so you lead by example. Just a lot of stuff that's common sense, but as I've said before, it can sometimes not be common practice. So we just make sure the gaffers came in. He wants to set high standards. He wants us to meet them every single day. So that comes from myself, it comes from, it's not just myself and David. I think we're lucky in regards to having, I think for me, we've got one of the best bunch of senior professionals at any club in Scotland. I mean, between myself, you've got Paul, Louis, you've got Witch, you've got Marv, all guys that have played consistently, that have got good characters, and they're definitely there to be looked up to, and for the younger guys to aspire to be like these guys. So you can only lay the foundations and give these guys a pathway, the younger guys coming through. And as I say, it's a fantastic facility to come into as a youngster. That coupled with the fact you've got experienced professionals that are here to help them, manager and all the infrastructure that Hibs have, so they've got the best chance of success.
It feels like a great kind of few months for Hibs. Speaking to yourself and Dave and just about anyone around here, it feels like a great place to be playing, to be working.
Yeah, I mean, I think since I've came in, I think we've had quite a lot of success, to be honest, and it's not just down to myself, it's everybody. It's them, as I say in prior interviews, I think the infrastructure in here, especially since I've came in from the physio department, nutritionists, sports science, it's all went up tremendously, and I think everybody will benefit from that. So I'm just honoured that I've had my wee part to play in, and hopefully that I can have that part to play in the coming future, whether it is playing or if I'm not playing and not selected, then helping the guys that are in front of me.
It's much easier for, I suppose, everyone outside to see the success going on when the results are going your way as well.
Of course it is.
What can you say about the effect that Paul's had and the run of results that he's managed to?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tremendous, to be honest. I think where we were, I think our lowest point, getting beat away to Motherwell, I think that was a sore one. It's very difficult to take, and sometimes when you're in these sort of negative streaks, it can become a habit. So Gaffer came in, he's laid out his principles and the identity in which he wants to create, and I think you're now starting to see that in the games. We're getting wins, but again, sometimes a win isn't quite enough. Fans want to see good football, and they want to see it played the right way. So he's definitely trying to create that, but I think it's definitely not a flick of a switch or an overnight thing. It definitely takes time to implement, but I think the past couple of games you're now beginning to see that, and everybody's on the same page. Even the guys that aren't playing already, he's big on that. If you're not playing, you're still involved. He still wants you to know the patterns of play and where you're supposed to be if you do go on, so you can carry on that style of play that he wants to implement. So it's really exciting.
I feel like the team's on an upward trajectory at the moment. You'll be looking up at Command and potential European places.
I think we've always said we'll look at the next one in front of us, and that's what happens to be Kilmarnock. So you can do the maths and realise that, I mean, come the weekend we could be quite close to them, but I mean, we take nothing for granted. We know we've got a really difficult task at hand. Hearts will be gunning for us, and we're well aware of that. So it leads into an exciting game. That coupled with the fact it's a derby, everybody's salivating over the prospect there.
You feel, having gone to Tynecastle, got the first result there for however many years it was, it's given you a bit of an upper hand on Hearts psychologically?
I think the derby's changed that. I mean, you can have the upper hand. I mean, I think I've been quite lucky since I've come in here with a really good contest, really strong contest against them. I mean, they've pipped us to the post a couple of times and vice versa, but they're always exciting games for the fans, and it's who has the bragging rights at the end of the week. It's more for the fans. I mean, we see it as obviously another game. The intensity changes things a little bit, but for me, it's another stepping stone, and one that we want to win. But it's probably more for the fans, and in the sense that they'll enjoy winding up their Hearts friends for the next week, or vice versa.
And stuff like the scenes at the final whistle, getting to go and celebrate with the fans. That's the sort of thing that builds a bond. But it's about those sort of memories between the supporters and the players.
Exactly. I mean, that was the first time I'd won at Tynecastle. I think even as a player, I think at St Mirren and Rangers, I'm pretty sure we never won either. So even for me, it was quite special, because it's a very difficult place to go, and they've proven that over the years. It's a very intimidating place, good place to play. I love playing there, but very difficult to get a result. So again, that's just testament to the boys and the character that we showed in that game, that we can mix it. Hearts are a big, strong, physical team, but I thought we dealt with them quite well.
They've got a bit of flack for going route one, although Levine's been contesting that. What did you feel? Do you feel that are they one of the more direct teams you come up against?
I think if you got the big lad like Pizzo up front, why would you not in certain instances? Because he's a definite handful. but they didn't stick out to me as being a team that plays it from the back forward more than any other team. I think if it's on to play, you've got guys like Suter who's really good in the ball, Christoph probably a wee bit similar to myself, and if there's the hard pass they play, probably goes long more often than not. But again, similar to myself, but defensively he's a rock, so it doesn't really stand out to me, no.
Do you pinch yourself, given where you've come from in your career, and Cowdenbeath?
Yep.
Just a wee while ago.
That's crazy.
11 years ago?
Yeah, I know, and that's I had a wee chat with the younger guys the other day, and just says to them, listen, and again, I get a hard time for saying this thing because it's going to be cliched, but when I was working in Excel at the age of 24 folding jeans, Kenny's laughing, and you'd came up to him in the store and says that by the time you're 30 you'd have played with St Mirren, played with Rangers, and you'll be winning the Scottish Cup with Hibs. I'd have thought you were crazy, like literally would have thought you were crazy. So if I can do it, that's inspiration for anybody else, and that added with the fact that I'm sitting here at 33, being given an extension as well, shows that hard work does pay off. And you could say, if you're being cynical, that I lack that finesse and the ability that some other centre-halves have, but I always give 100%, and that's not always a given. Again, it's common sense isn't always common practice, so they're the traits that I've always stuck to, and I've always worked hard, try to respect people, and that respect's always been reciprocated, so that's led me to this point. So that's what I tell the young guys, just be yourself, work as hard as you can work, and everybody's got an opinion about you. If it doesn't work here, and you have to drop down a couple of levels, so be it. You work hard again. I dropped down to Anniston Rangers, went back up to Cowdenbeath to St Mirren, so it can be done, and proof's sitting right in front of
You ever go back to the jeans shop?
you. The jeans, no, I still get discount on it, mind you, but I normally send there in them, but I've got 2 kids now, and one on the way, so it's all my money goes to them, so I think I've probably got a lot of jeans that I bought when I worked there about 8 years ago, so that's not saying much, but